Welcome to Noble Character Crafts. My name is Amy and I am coming to you from eastern Nebraska, where I live with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you really enjoy this episode. This channel is all about my crafty life, and today I have knitting and crocheting to share with you all. You can find me online on Instagram and Etsy at Noble Character Crafts, and you can get in contact with me through my email at noblecharactercrafts@yahoo.com. I will have links to the places that you can find me in the description box below, as well as the show notes for this episode. I am hosting a year-long make-along on Instagram called the Make 9 2022 MKAL, where you can join in the Make 9 challenge, where you choose 9 projects that you would like to make this year and post a grid of those projects to Instagram. And then anytime that you work on those projects and post a picture of your progress or your finished objects, include that hashtag and you will be entered to win a prize, which I draw periodically throughout the year. I have 3 different prizes to give away today, excitingly. The first, I was given donations from I have 3 different donations that were given to me by 2 different makers. The first is a beautiful cowl design, which I will post a picture of here. It is called the Hugs Aplenty Cowl by Live In Crafts. And this pattern was donated to us as a prize. So thank you so much, Olivia, for your donation. I truly appreciate it. And this cowl is just so beautiful. And so I wanted to also include with this prize some yarn to make the cowl, which of course you don't have to, but this yarn will work for that pattern. These are both hand dyed by me. I used to dye and sell my hand-dyed yarn, but I don't anymore, so it's a bit of a rarity to get some hand-dyed yarn from me, so I hope that the winner likes these. I thought that this would make a fun combination for that pattern. They're both one of a kind. They're not colorways that I sold in my shop. This one is almost black, and I did sell a solid black color that I called Night, but I don't know if it'll show up on screen, but this one is not quite pure black. It's got a slight reddish, but it almost comes across as purple undertone, but it is quite difficult to show up. There you can kind of see that it almost looks like a super deep purple color, but really it reads black, but it I thought looked good with this, which is, so this is a 100-gram hank. These are both on the same base, which is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon base, so they could be used for socks as well, however you want to use them. And the red is a 50-gram skein. And so this is just, the color probably isn't coming across true on camera. It's a little bit too bright on camera. In person, it's a pretty true red, I would say. Kind of a cherry red color. But I just thought that those would look fun in this pattern. So the winner of this prize, the cowl pattern and these 2 hanks of yarn, is Charmaine. Congratulations, Charmaine. She is knitting _under_the_ yellow wood on Instagram. And I remember that you won a prize last year for the make-along, so I'm so excited that you won again this year. Thank you for participating again this year. I'm so excited to get this off in the mail to you. Go ahead and send me another message. I probably could go back in our messages and find your address from last year, but just in case you need to update your address or anything, go ahead and give me, send me another message with your mailing information so I can get this off in the mail to you as soon as possible. Congratulations to you. And again, thank you, Olivia, for your donation. I truly appreciate that. The next prize that was donated is by Anna Knitter. The next 2 prizes are both from Anna Knitter. So thank you so much, Anna. She's been so generous to donate prizes in the past as well, and has donated again. 2 of her, well, the first prize that she has gifted is a sock knitting table that she has created, and it includes tons of information that you can use to know how to knit different sizes of socks, and also using different weights of yarn. So the table includes both 4-ply, 6-ply, and 8-ply yarn. So that would be fingering sport and DK weight yarn. So you are winning, the winner of this prize is getting a copy of that sock knitting table by Anna Knitter, and you are also getting 2 skeins of Knit Picks Felici, and this colorway is called Spaceman. So it just has lots of neutral gray and cream colored stripes throughout it, so I hope that the winner enjoys that colorway. These are also fingering weight, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And the winner of the sock knitting table and these 2 skeins of yarn is Ingrid, and she is Spin Knit Love on Instagram. Congratulations, Ingrid. Send me a message either through direct message on Instagram or through my email and let me know your full name and mailing address, and I will be happy to get these off in the mail to you. And lastly, Anna has donated a copy of her Selfcare Cowl MKAL pattern, which is starting at the beginning of March. And it is a cowl that, of course, is a mystery. So we don't know what that will look like yet, but it would be super fun to knit along with that MKAL for the winner if you so choose. And again, I wanted to include yarn that you could use for the MKAL. So Anna has recommended that you use 2 different 100 gram skeins of 2 different colors. One being in more of a solid color, and then the second one could be variegated and include maybe a color that coordinates with the main color, of course. So what I have chosen is for the main color, these are 250 gram skeins. So this would be the main color, the one, and adding up to 100 grams. This is Knit Picks Stroll in the Wonderland Heather colorway. And again, these are a fingering weight base, sock weight, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And then I'm also including as the contrast color another one of my hand-dyed yarns on the same base again, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. I did sell this colorway and called it Kindness. So I thought that those colors would look really good together. And again, of course, you don't have to use these for the cowl if you don't want to, but they would make great sock yarns as well. But these would work for that pattern if you would like to. And the winner of these is Grace, who is Grace Edwards 1 on Instagram. Congratulations, Grace. I was so excited to see your name pop up for this prize, and I hope that you enjoy the prizes. I am so grateful, Anna. Thank you again so much for your generosity. I just can't express to you how much I appreciate you continuously donating prizes to this podcast. And congratulations to all of the winners. Thank you so much for participating in the MKAL, and I hope that you all enjoy your prizes very much. Again, get in contact with me if you are one of the winners and let me know your full name and mailing address. Today I am wearing my Sourcebook Chunky Cardigan by Norah Gaughan. I knit this several years ago, and I used Knit Picks Simply Wool bulky weight, and it is in the Wilbur colorway. So it's a longer cardigan and has lots of cables throughout. And I have it's out of my reach, but it's from the Knitted Cable Sourcebook book. This pattern is in that, and I have that book, and so knit this from that book, and I really enjoy it. It's my warmest cardigan that I have made, and today is a super, super cold day. It's so cold, in fact, that my husband has the day off of work and has just taken our 5 children to visit his grandmother, and so that means that I have the house to myself, and so it's a perfect opportunity for me to record an episode. And then that also means that I will not be having any background noise for this episode, though I'm glad to know that many of you were quite entertained by my boys' racket during the last episode. So anyway, I am super excited to get to record today with peace and quiet. It's a rarity. I have a finished object I would love to share with you all. I was able to finish these scrappy socks that I made using up the leftovers that I had from the 24 days socks that I showed off on the last episode as a finished object. I did not have hardly anything left of the colors that I used as the stripes, but for the cuff, the heels, and the toes, I used some yarn that I'm using in another project, which I'll show you in a minute, but it's Yarn Bee Color Idyll is the brand of the yarn, and I used, oh, I'm not gonna remember all the names, but the blue, the orange, that's called Orangeology, and I think this is called Magenta for the toe. And I also used one of those right in here. I think this one's called Neon Watermelon. Otherwise, a lot of the yarn that is in here is from Pineapple Yarns. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 colors from Marina. And then I also have this colorway is from Yarn Brary that came in a sock set. This yellowish stripe right here is from Candy Shop Yarns. I have 3 colorways, 1, 2, and 3 from A Chick That Knits. And then I just have 1 colorway that I dyed right in there. So I just absolutely love these so much. I'm so happy with how they turned out. I cast on 60 stitches, knit a 2x1 ribbing for 20 rounds, and then just knit in plain stockinette. I did 10 rounds for each color stripe, slip stitch heel flap, and I added the slip stitch detail to the ball of my foot again, as I have been doing to hopefully prevent holes forming as quickly, and I did a rounded toe. Kitchener the toes. I knit these on US 0.2mm needles, and I'm so excited about how these turned out. They were so much fun to knit. Just, you know, totally addictive and fun to work up. It was a joy to work on these, especially during February, you know, when it's so gray and, you know, you're getting to the point where you're kind of tired of winter. It was fun to knit with some really super bright colors. So I love how those turned out. I've also finished 3 more dishcloths. I have been using the classic easy knit dishcloth pattern by Carolyn Stanton, which I discovered maybe a month ago or so. And I am just so happy with how this pattern works up. It just makes such a neat dishcloth, I think. I knit this using Knit Picks Dishie in the Dandelion Patch colorway. And then you can see I ran out near the end here and finished off with just a plain white, again from Knit Picks Dishie. I used US 6 4mm needles. I only increased to 52 stitches instead of 60 as the pattern calls for before I started decreasing. My friend Tina had gifted me some of her leftovers of cotton yarn a little while ago, and this deep green was one of those that she had gifted to me. So I don't know what it is. It wasn't labeled, but it's a beautiful green color. I just love that deep green color. But again, I ran out, and so, well, I could tell that I was not going to have enough, so I started striping in another color that Tina had gifted me, which is kind of a variegated tan and cream color. Again, I don't know what that was either. Neither of them were labeled, but I like how that one turned out as well. And then I also just knit a plain white one, again with Knit Picks Dishie. So those were super quick. I've just been trying to work on dishcloths to work through my cotton stash lately. And I'm just working through my cotton stash until I get another. I like to have, you know, quite a few dishcloths made up and ready to gift as I have the opportunity to gift them. So those are my finished objects for today. I showed you last time these socks that I had knit up quite a while ago, back in August of 2020. This pattern is called the Slipped Up Socks by All Knit Up Designs, and I knit these in Knit Picks Felici in the Endless Summer colorway. And then for the heels and toes, I used some tiny little mini skeins that I had been gifted. And that was a color dyed by Stranded Dye Works, but it wasn't labeled. And I am now thinking that it must not have had any nylon in it, because as I showed last time, just the toes and it's like see-through, you can see my hand. The toes and the heels are wearing out. Very, very thin in these socks. You can see that the slip stitch detail that I added is holding up beautifully though on the ball of my foot, and that is where I get holes in my sock most often. I don't ever get them in the heels or the toes, but you can just see that it's so thin. It's just like already worn through. I don't know, maybe that is nylon in there. Maybe that's what's holding up. I don't know, but they're just not holding up very well, this gray yarn. So I wanted to replace it, and I have done that on one sock. I'm so happy with how this worked out. So thank you to everybody who gave me some suggestions on how to replace this heel flap and gusset. Was the main, or the heel flap and heel turn was the main thing that I was worried about replacing, because these were knit from the cuff down, and I just wasn't sure how I was going to replace that heel. So what I ended up doing was I had originally knit these with a 64 stitch count. So I picked up the 32 heel flap stitches. I knit the heel flap and the heel turn as I normally would. And then because of a suggestion of someone who had commented on the last episode, I decided to just pick up, after I knit the heel turn, I have 18 stitches left on my needles, and then I pick up 17 stitches on each side of the gusset, and so that equals 52 stitches. And so I just picked up 52 stitches along the gusset area here, and then I Kitchenered those 52 stitches together with the stitches that were left over from my heel flap. So I had 18 stitches, and then I just picked up the heel flap stitches like you normally would to, continue knitting your sock. And I just Kitchenered those stitches together. And I'm really happy with how that turned out. I was surprised that I could do that, but it worked out really well. The yarn that I used is the Yarn Bee Color Idyll, and this is in the colorway L is for Lemon. This is unfortunately a discontinued yarn. They don't carry this yarn anymore, and I got it on clearance for only $2.24 for a 100-gram skein. It is a fingering weight yarn. It is 50% merino wool, 30% nylon, and 20% acrylic. I really like this yarn, so I'm sad that they don't make it anymore, because it really seems like it's really soft, and I think it'll hold up really well because of the content. So I'm excited to have these fixed. And for the toe, I just picked up the stitches, and that was easy. I just, knit the toe as I did originally. All I had to do was pick up those stitches and knit it normally. I originally left the gray yarn attached. I thought, especially with the heel flap, I thought maybe I'll just leave that in there and it'll just give it extra padding, but it didn't sit nicely. When I tried to put the sock on, it was kind of bunched up underneath there. So I did end up cutting that out in the end. But I had I didn't cut it out until I was completely done. Everything was sewed up completely, and then I went back in and cut out that gray yarn and made sure everything was secure, and it was, so that's good. So now I just need to do the same thing to the second sock. So I will try to work on that in the next day or two. It shouldn't take too long to finish up the second one. I like how that yellow really makes the socks pop now too. I think they're really fun looking. I'm happy with how that color worked out with the color stripes. Okay, my other works in progress are, the first one is being held in this beautiful bag from Longview Creations. This was gifted to me by a viewer of the podcast. My daughter gave me, well, she was gifted a bunch of my husband's grandmother's jewelry. My husband's grandmother, his other grandmother, he's visiting his living grandmother, but his other grandmother passed away last summer, and my daughter was gifted a bunch of that grandmother's jewelry. This is one of those pieces, and she gave it, my daughter gave this to me, and I've attached it to my bag because I thought it looked so cute with it. Anyway, in here is my turtleneck advent my turtleneck advent sweater that I have been working on since the beginning of December. I have made a bit of progress on this. I'm happy with, well, I don't know if I should say I'm happy with the progress, because I don't know why, but this project just seems, I feel like this project should be going quicker than it is. I don't know why, but anyway. I used a stitch count for, I'm not really following a pattern for this. I'm only using the stitch counts from the Stoneham Poncho by Dianna Walla. I used those numbers to cast on the neckline and to do the increases throughout the yoke. I knit 7 inches of 1x1 ribbing and then striped in the different advent colors that Emma Potter sent to me, and I love how it looks. Last time I am holding 2 strands of fingering weight yarn together for this project. For the main color, I'm using a 100% non-superwash fine merino wool in the bear color, undyed, and then for all of the color stripes, Emma sent me fingering weight yarn, and I'm just holding it all double for this sweater. Last time I recorded, I was just starting the ribbing. I finished that. I knit about 4 inches of 1x1 ribbing, and then I used the sewn tubular bind off to bind off those stitches. And I love how that looks. And I have just started working on the first sleeve. So it's super mindless at this point, which is great. And probably that's why I haven't worked on it. I feel like I'm not making a ton of progress because I only work on it when I need a project that's mindless. So I don't know. I just am continuing to work on it slowly, but I just don't know why. I feel like a DK weight sweater, because that's what this is, 2 fingering weights held double like that makes a DK weight. I just feel like it should be knitting up so much faster than it is, but oh well, it's fine. I am knitting this on Gaughan needles and US 5 3.75 millimeter. So it's coming along. I'm hoping it will be done soon, but time will tell. My next project is being held in this beautiful bag by Tanny Casey. And this is my Ellie Cardigan. This is a beautiful design by Adelheid. And this is coming along probably much, much slower than the turtleneck sweater, but I expect it of this sweater because it's fingering weight and I am adding beading to it. So I just expect for this project to go slowly, and I don't know why, I just think that the other one should be going faster. Anyway, I am super happy with how this is coming along. I have continued to add 2 rows to this sweater every morning. That's been my routine, and I've kept up with that. I have a progress keeper here from Tracy of Grizzly Knits, and that is marking where I was last time I recorded. So I've added again, probably, I would say about 3 inches of length. And I have separated for this sleeve since the last time I showed this to you all. So I'm super happy with that. It's fitting really well. I'm so happy with how it's fitting. And as I mentioned, I am adding beading to the pattern. That is not in the original pattern, but I'm just adding in these pearl beads, which is so much fun to do, and I love how it's looking. I think the lace work is so gorgeous. I have also started doing the lace patterning comes to a V shape in the front. So you stop doing the lace after you split for the sleeves, you start decreasing the lace work, basically. So you can see that there's more stockinette here as the lace work is tapering off. And then the sleeves will have lace on them. They're fully lace. You know, the lace work goes throughout the entire sleeve. So I'm really, really happy with how this is coming along. I'm so excited about it. I am knitting this with 2 different sized needles. I knit with a US 3.25 millimeter needle for my knit stitches, and for my purl stitches I go down to a 2.53 millimeter needle because my purl stitches are a bit looser than my knit stitches, and that's working out really, really well. I'm using the same yarn as I am using in my turtleneck sweater, just held singly. So again, it's just a bare 100% non-superwash fine merino wool. I'm just so happy with how this is coming out. I think it's so beautiful. I think that's all I have to say for that one though, but I'll just keep plugging along on it. My last work in progress is the Afghan that I am working on as a gift for one of my stepmom's friends. Last time I showed this off to you, I was kind of, I can't quite remember where I was. I think I had, well, it doesn't matter. I'd worked on a couple of strips. I had to redo one of the strips because I had decided to not do the join as you go method in order to join the strips or the pieces together. Instead, I am seaming all the pieces as the pattern calls for. The pattern is called Old Time Charm, and it is from an old leisure arts book from 1997. It's called, I didn't grab it, it's over there, I can barely see it. A Year of Afghans, 1997. So this is, I have made 4 rows, and in each row there are 7 squares, and I've attached them all together. So far, I need to do a total of 10 rows. So I'm, just 1 row away from halfway there. So it's coming along well. I just am so happy with how it's looking. I think it's so beautiful. The pattern is, obviously I've got it memorized by now. It's really a fun pattern to work up. And I love the texture that it makes. It's so pretty. So again, I am seaming the pieces together, which has worked up really, really well and allows for the pieces to lay so nicely together. The yarn that I'm using is All I Love This yarn. The main color I'm using is Light Sage. This is worsted weight 100% acrylic. I'm using the Ivory colorway. And I am using the Sage Advice. I'm using an H hook, which is 5 millimeter. And I timed myself because I was just curious. And I was surprised. It seemed like these squares were working up so quickly, but I believe it took me just under a half an hour to make a square. I think that included the seaming of the square to the next one. I think it took, it took me 26 minutes to make the square and seam it, but then I figure that doesn't count for the seaming of the whole strip to the next strip. So I kind of rounded up and said it probably takes me about a half an hour to make 1 square. I need to make 70 squares total, so that's a total of 35 hours, which really, that doesn't seem too terrible. To make a whole Afghan, I don't know. When I first timed myself though, I was like, what? I can't believe it took me 26 minutes. It seems like it goes so much faster than that, but I guess time flies when you're having fun, so that's good. I am really enjoying it. So it's a fun project to work on. It's not portable, you know, well, I guess it could be, but with 3 different skeins of yarn, it's just something that I work on here at home. But it's just, I absolutely love crocheting blankets. So it's just a pure joy to work on this. I'm enjoying it so much. And the colors I think are so beautiful together. The original pattern calls for you to only use 2 different colors, but Hobby Lobby did not have enough of the light sage color when I first got all of the yarn that I needed for this. So that's why I picked up the Sage Advice as well. And I really like the way that those 3 colors are working together. I think it's really pretty. So those are all of the projects that I have to share with you all today. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I would appreciate that so much. I hope you all are doing really well. Take care. Bye-bye.